The Revenue Mobilisation, Allocation and Fiscal Commission has expressed strong opposition to President Bola Tinubu's proposed tax reform bills, citing alleged constitutional breaches. In a detailed 9-page memorandum signed by its chairman, Mohammed Bello Shehu, the commission outlined its legal, constitutional, and technical objectives to the objections to the bills currently under consideration by the National Assembly. The commission urged that the commission argued that Section 162(2) of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, grants its exclusive authority to determine the formula for equitable revenue sharing among the federal, state, and local governments. This mandate, it's emphasized, must reflect fairness and justice in line with its constitutional duties. And now to discuss this further and whether or not these objections stand to have a legal point, we have Senior Manager, Tax and Regulatory Services, PwC, Kayode-Alli, and he joins us now to discuss this. Abiodun, very interesting points that were made here by this commission, but I have to ask you, what are the key provisions of President Tinubu's tax reform bills, and how do they propose to alter the current taxation system?
Yeah, thank you very much. So the key, generally, those reforms, what they aim to do is to reduce the amount of taxes that will be paid basically by people, right? To reduce the number of taxes from what we have currently to something single digits, right? So officially we have about 60 taxes, and unofficially we have about 200 taxes. So the current reform bills aim to reduce this to single digits, basically. And there are a lot of taxes that the poor and vulnerable pay, right? A lot of taxes referred to as nuisance taxes, like bicycle levies, wheelbarrow taxes. Most of these taxes will be done away with, right? So these are some of the reforms that, these are some of the updates and developments that this tax reform bill proposes. Yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
And I'm glad we're setting the tone for this conversation, because the next question is really about the technical implications of what the commission is saying. So the commission's opposition to the tax reform bills in terms of revenue collection and fiscal policy. Let's look at their objection, or their objection to the bill, and saying that that technical implication. What does it mean for the National Assembly now they're trying to take a critical look at the bill?
Yeah, so I looked at the section they made reference to, that's section 162, subsection 2 of the Constitution. And yes, that particular paragraph says that anytime the president is going to make a proposal to the National Assembly on how revenues are to be shared, they need to get input from the Revenue Mobilisation, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. I'll call it RMAFC for short. So yes, they do have an input, but if you look at that section, it also then says the determination is actually the duty of the National Assembly. So yes, an advice will come from them to the president, and it will be given to the National Assembly, and the National Assembly then goes ahead to make that determination. But then again, one interesting angle that we need to look at, because their grouse here has to do with the legality, right? The legality based on the Constitution. Now, VAT is something that has been controversial, and there have been controversies way beyond these 4 bills that are being proposed by the executive. The controversy stems as far back as 2020, 2021, when we were even looking at, should the federal government be administering VAT, which is a consumption tax, or should it be administered by the states? That is a kind of underlying controversy. Now, RMAFC here is saying that any of these revenues that will be shared, and these revenues are revenues that come from the federation accounts. But the question we're asking is, should VAT constitutionally be part of the federation accounts? And based on the current constitution, it shouldn't. It shouldn't even be there. So if we look at the case between Rivers State and the federal government, Rivers State has been winning the case about who should administer VAT up till it has gotten to the Supreme Court. And there is a likelihood, a high chance, that if the Supreme Court gives a ruling, it would be the states that would have the right to administer it, meaning that it shouldn't even be in the Federation account in the first instance. And a similar case which was ruled by the Supreme Court is a recent one that had to do with lotteries and gamings, where the Supreme Court ruled that because lottery and gaming does not form part of what is referred to as the exclusive list for the federal government, it should be something that would fall under a residual list. A residual list means that it's not something that is to be administered by the federal government, not something to be administered by both federal government and states, but something that should be administered by states only. So because of this recent ruling by the Supreme Court on who should administer bettings, lottery, and gaming activities, it's almost something that was similarly applied to VAT. So if you want to look at it from a constitutional legality, it then portends that even VAT should not form part of the Federation account. So it's actually something that is up to debate, right? So I understand where the RMAFC is coming from, but this is a much bigger issue than what they've actually stated in that section of the law.
Now, I mean, Kayode, I would need you to help me and sit back because the screen is splitting your head into two, and we don't want to scare the children. They're back from school. So help us and sit back. Thank you so much. But my final question for you before I let you go, right? So many contentions with the tax reform bill. But whether it's the Northern Leaders Forum, the Iowa Consultative Forum, elders, just very interested people. There's so much contention to the bill, right? And the National Assembly says they'll have a critical look into it, and it's still up for debate before it's passed into law. But I have to ask you, you are the expert, all right? Is there any benefit to this bill? Would there be any potential economic impact, of this proposed tax reform, for small, medium-sized businesses in Nigeria, for the everyday man, for myself and you? Are we in trouble with the bill? Be honest.
Yeah, okay, so I'll be 100% honest with you. I can assure you that the issue of the VAT that is being debated just represents, let's say, about 2% of what that bill is. I assure you that 98% of what is contained in those bills are actually to the benefit of every everyday person, average person like me and you, right? So for the small and medium scale enterprises that you made reference to, most of the small and medium scale enterprises, companies, they are going to be exempted from taxes. So current law says that for companies that have an annual turnover of 25 million, those companies should not pay income taxes. So what this bill is trying to do, the bill has actually doubled that amount by raising it from 25 million to 50 million. So if you are a small and medium scale business company and you are making an annual turnover of 50 million, you won't pay income taxes. Then for those who are earning 800,000 naira, they are going to, in a year, they are going to be exempted from personal income tax. In fact, if you're even earning a million, if you're earning a million in a year, you would enjoy exemption, because apart from the 800,000, which would be exempted, there is also a 200,000 benefits that you get. So lots of benefits. Then for those who are actually in the digital system, you can be employed here in Nigeria and be working for foreigners abroad, and you would be earning in foreign currency without causing a kind of tax implication for them in Nigeria, which would be the case if under our current existing laws, you would expose them under our current existing laws. But based on the proposed laws, you won't have to expose those companies, and they will be able to hire local young people, right, to actually do the work. So lots of benefits. And I told you one, which has to do with the nuisance taxes. You remember most of our small-scale business owners, right? Most of the kiosk owners, the shop owners, the wheelbarrow pushers, they pay lots of levies, lots of taxes. All these will be done away with based on the proposed bill. So from this little that I've mentioned, you can see clearly that there is a lot of benefits, right? And I think we should focus on the benefits while we continue to have consultation and discussion on the particular one that seems to be controversial. So that's my summary there.
And very, very, very pertinent summary, because it begs to ask the question, why this much level of argument and contention with the bill when there's so much benefit for the average Nigerian and the common man, the wheelbarrow pushers, the one with the small kiosk, the market women, the bus drivers, the conductor that constantly have to pay some sort of levy at every spot every time they pass that spot. But many thanks for doing this with us, Kayode-Alli. We appreciate you for coming on. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.